Sheldon, it's great to see you. I understand that DMG is now working on a defense contract for AI quantum computing. Can you tell us more about that?
Yeah, thanks. We've publicly stated that DMG has secured up to 10 megawatts of SCIF-rated modular data centers that are 1 megawatt apiece. So 10 1 megawatt mobile data centers. SCIF rating is a term used in military applications. Basically, it says that they're RFID compliant from the point of view people can't read information and pick up radio waves and do all sorts of snooping into the physical infrastructure. There's all sorts of ways they compartmentalize how the servers are worked, the way they're interconnected with fiber. So it's a very sort of sophisticated way of putting together a data center to ensure that information isn't compromised in any way.
Of course, this is a major topic that we cover frequently, is that 2025 would be the year for quantum computing and how it's going to change our entire universe. Jumping sideways for a second and listening to you at an investor talk, I think most people will understand that you provide a real competitive element in mining Bitcoins. Did I get that correct?
Yeah, we are one of the longest Bitcoin miners out there. We went public in 2018, but we actually started mining in 2016. Before that, I was mining for a different company before founding DMG. So, we're a good 10 years of Bitcoin mining experience between myself and the senior members of our team. We're the first Canadian Bitcoin miner to go public. Still going strong, trying to continually ensure that we are mining Bitcoin at low cost. And what I mean by that is a lot of large Bitcoin miners end up running into situations where their cost structure starts to balloon. We tried to keep smaller cost structure and more profitable in our Bitcoin mining operation. And most people think that the lowest price of power means, the greatest profitability in Bitcoin mining. That's not necessarily true. A lot of people can have low price gas, but they won't have 100% uptime. So a lot of people can have low cost energy, but it gets curtailed and they don't get it 100% of the time. So we try to be running 100% of the time, the low energy cost, low head count. So we have a low G&A as well. The way we build our equipment, we have very low downtime for repairs and maintenance. So we've just really focused in on being able to build a Bitcoin at the lowest cost possible for a public company.
And of course, we were also discussing that many people believe that this is the beginning of mass adoption of digital currency. Would you confirm that DMG blockchain team agrees with that, or can you comment on that?
In general, yes. And I say yes as in like, I hope so. I mean, I've been at this for a long time, hoping that there would be mass adoption of Bitcoin. And if you go back a few years in some of the interviews I've done, I've talked about, the day of mass adoption in Bitcoin is when my mom and dad will have their checkings, their savings, their mortgage, and their Bitcoin account at their local bank. And I think that we're getting closer to that. And, with Donald Trump coming in the US, with the change in policy around digital assets, with the amount of banks, significant US banks getting more involved, working their way into digital assets and Bitcoin in particular, I think that day is coming. The first sort of bank that ever had a Bitcoin account you could have that I'm aware of was in Vancouver, where I'm from, at Mogo Financial. They had it for quite a few years. They removed it after a while. Maybe it'll come back. I don't know. But I do feel that, with the growth of the regulations, with the understanding that governments now see digital assets aren't going away, they're not a small little part of the economy that didn't require their attention. This is something that can happen over the next few years where, a name brand bank that had never had a Bitcoin or Ethereum or any type of account like that may start offering that to its users, and that would be mainstream, at least from my point of view.
Crypto treasury deals. Everyone's talking about them. Are you doing them at DMG, and are you helping people with them presently?
So that's a great two questions. DMG, we've always thought of ourselves as a crypto treasury company, maybe not exactly the way that the crypto treasuries are marketing themselves right now. And what I mean by that is, the companies that are marketing themselves now, like Strategy, who's been doing this for quite some time, and the ones that have followed, they are purchasing crypto and either purchasing it with cash they have, taking on debt, or they're raising more cash from their investors to purchase more crypto. And that's their sole function, is just to amass that crypto as best they can and the best use of their funds. DMG, we're a little bit different because we're a Bitcoin miner. So we buy Bitcoin mining equipment, we run that equipment, and we generate our crypto that way. We don't normally go and buy it in the open market because we can produce crypto at a lower cost than buying it in the open market. So over the last few years, we had a very small hodl of less than 100 Bitcoins. Now we're kind of teeter between 350 to 450, sort of around that 400 mark. In general, quarter to quarter, it changes a little bit, but we've amassed, quite a large hodl of Bitcoin. We plan on, managing that in a very diligent way. And what I mean by that is, when you go back 9-10 months ago, we took a loan to defer paying some of our bills by selling Bitcoin. We took that loan around $45,000. We've watched that grow up over time, and now we're paying that loan back. And so when you sort of take a look at where the Bitcoin price was and where it is now, the interest we paid at 8.5%. We've gained a lot. We've sold way less Bitcoin for the equipment we bought by having this treasury management strategy. And we see ourselves continuing to add Bitcoin as our cost of operations are lower than our Bitcoin generation. So we see ourselves sort of as a hodling company or Bitcoin treasury company inherent just in our operations.
So the benefit of buying your stock, for instance, versus an ETF, I think you were trying to clarify that earlier. Can you comment on that?
Yeah, I mean, I think ETFs are great. They give investors direct access to Bitcoin or Ethereum or whatever the ETF is managing. But I think that Bitcoin miners may be a little bit of a better investment. When you look at Bitcoin mining, we're producing Bitcoin at a lower cost rate than an ETF that has to buy and sell it to rebalance on the market. So, Bitcoin ETF may be buying $200 million worth of Bitcoin one day, selling 300 the next day, buying 500 the next day, selling 200 the next day. And there's a lot of trading fees and costs in rebalancing and keeping the ETF in line with the rules it has. A Bitcoin miner, saying in general, it costs around $50,000 in power to generate a Bitcoin. Bitcoin price is 115,000. There's quite a bit of margin in there for its operations and its profitability. So when you sort of look at the assets that a Bitcoin miner has, you sort of start doing some calculations around it. You can see why some Bitcoin mining stocks are much more interesting to purchase than just buying an ETF and moving directly with Bitcoin. Whereas a stock, you can get many multiples on that Bitcoin value that a Bitcoin miner has.
And you also have a carbon credit friendly reason for looking at DMG. Can you comment on that?
Yeah, DMG, a few years ago, we created a Bitcoin mining pool. This is a pool is basically a bunch of Bitcoin miners get together and use their resources together to win newly minted Bitcoins or Bitcoin blocks, win them. And what we did in this pool that's different than every other pool out there is that we only allow people to apply and join that are on carbon neutral energy. And by doing that, we create carbon neutral Bitcoin. So when you look at the Bitcoin that we create through TerraPool, there's no carbon in it. So when you have, funds out there or institutions out there that have an ESG policy, we're, one of the few places where you can go and say, these Bitcoins that I have here in this wallet are carbon neutral. These Bitcoins over here are not. And DMG gives you the ability to get those Bitcoins through us and our partners that mine with us. As well, because we own a trust, we have a node that interacts with our pool that you can move all the Bitcoins carbon neutral. So instead of buying Bitcoins from Robinhood or Coinsquare or Kraken or Coinbase, where you'll have carbon in all of your transactions and move the Bitcoin, you can actually go to our trust and you can have the Bitcoins moved by us. And then we integrate with other exchanges. So if an exchange wants to work with us, we'll set up carbon neutral accounts for them so that their customers can purchase and move carbon neutral Bitcoins around.
So if I'm new to digital currency, perhaps looking at the public markets, for instance, in digital currency is a good way to go.
100%, yes. There's a couple of things that people could do if they want to get into digital assets, so whether it's Bitcoin or a different one. Obviously, we focus in on Bitcoin mining, so we're a great share. We have Bitcoin mining is our main revenue and our main business, but now with the trust business, we have sort of what we call transactional revenue. So you could look at our stock as a proxy and buy our stock based on the fact that we are very Bitcoin centric.
What should shareholders be looking forward to in this next quarter?
Well, that's a great question. I have a lot of things I'm looking forward to in the next quarter, but there'll be a lot of news out on our plan to increase the amount of hydro mining we're doing. So traditionally, Bitcoin miners mine with air-cooled equipment. We've started the transition to hydro. There's a few reasons for that. One is that we're starting to retire our air-cooled equipment. Two is that the manufacturers are really pushing hydro because it's one of the ways that you can get the best price and the most hash rate out of a server. And so, we have a goal to convert all of Christina Lake, our main data center, to hydro over the next 12 months. And I think that's going to be stuff that we see over the next quarter. On top of that, we have some software releases coming out related to Blockseer, which is the original blockchain explorer, and Helm, which is our software that we're betaing with a few people right now that are trying Helm out as a new release with a lot of updates to it to run their data center and manage their Bitcoin miners. So I think, we have software information coming out. We have the hardware, the Bitcoin mining side information coming out as well. There will be some more information coming out about the trust and our client development. A lot of people are waiting to sort of see some information about what clients we're onboarding, what kind of revenues are going to come out of our new trust company. You'll start seeing that information next quarter as we are busy onboarding clients now. And then, of course, in some ways, the holy grail of all data center companies is, something on AI, what's going to happen on AI. I don't have anything I can say yet, but we're definitely working full-time on our AI strategy.
Well, for those of you interested in finding out more about DMG blockchain, go to the following website. Thank you so much, Sheldon.
Thank you.